Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Matt, and I will not be hosting, but I'm here in studio.
Kicking it off for us.
Ah, yes. Live with my friends, Neal and Jeff. How are you fellas doing?
I'm great. I just found out that I'm friends with Matt, so this is pretty exciting.
Oh, it is an exciting day. I'm doing all right. During our lunch break in between recordings, I bit my lip very hard, and it's not doing too good, and I think it's going to swell up by the end of this recording, so I'm hoping I can still speak.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. We had to send Ken out to go get some lip balm. We don't know how long it's going to take him, so I don't know if he's going to be joining us today.
No, I asked for Bert's bees, but he said they didn't do it right, so he's going to find his own bees.
He's on a bee quest.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, aside to the A story, which is what we're doing here today, right?
Yeah, we're not caring about the B story. We're caring about the A story today.
Mm-hmm. And who is going to be joining us in this A story today, Neal?
Well, during our hero's journey of today's podcast, we have two very special guests. First, we have a competitor who's going to be partnering with you today, Matt.
Ooh, fun.
And that is Mary Pokorney-Donelan. How are you, Mary?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for joining us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to?
I'm a television producer. I've been that for almost 30 years. If I'm not doing that, I'm helping raise my kids. During COVID, I learned to get out on the golf course again, so I've been doing that. I played a couple rounds with the nice weather and just enjoying time outside.
That sounds like a nice way to spend your time. And I'm sure being a producer, you're no stranger to busy and stressful days. So we're just happy that you're able to take a little time and joke around with us today.
Awesome. I'm very happy. I'm excited.
Wonderful. And we need a host in order to play the game. And ironically, also coming from Wisconsin today, coming to us from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is also an Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon, and we appreciate his support, and that is Karl Krueger. How are you, Karl?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing awesome, except for I think that looks like a Packers picture behind you. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, we're going to forgive that for today. But I'm not going to make that joke because it was already in the headlines many months ago. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Karl.
Yeah, I'm a product manager for a company that makes logistics software. I got married to my wife, Vanya, in March. And obviously I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin with her. We're just trying to enjoy the last little bit of good weather before it gets too cold out.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And is your wife getting a lot of extra acclaim now because of the popularity of Anya Taylor-Joy?
No.
No. Well, maybe she will now.
One day.
Does she play chess? That's the question.
I don't think she does.
Okay, I don't know how to
I've
play
only
chess
been married
either.
since March, so I'm still learning things.
Hey, you have a lifetime to find out if she can play chess.
Yeah, that's the idea.
But I think I've told the story on the podcast before. I babysat a kid who was 12, and he said, chess is very easy. Let me teach you. And let's just say after 3 hours, it did not work. And I don't know how to play.
That's okay.
So, Matt, you're going to be partnering with Mary today. And I actually had an idea for your team name, but I feel like you should be able to pick it together.
Oh, well, let me hear your idea first because I'm intrigued now.
Okay, well, I love musicals, and Mary said that she is on the golf course off and on again, and if she has a particularly bad day, she might sing the theme song to Bye Bye Birdie, so that's...
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. I like that one.
All right, so you'll be Bye Bye Birdie. And Jeff, we're partnering today, which I feel like it's always a match made in heaven together. What would you like to be today?
I don't know. Do you want to go golf theme or you want to go off the heaven theme?
Oh, we can go heaven. Should we go musical, heaven, or golf theme?
Let's go musical heaven. Let's spin the wheel of Neal's knowledge.
All right. Well, let's say we want points, and the only way to get points is for them to be fed to us. How about we be Feed Me Seymour?
Okay.
From Little Shop of Horrors.
Nice.
Is that cool? Or no, Feed Me Dutch Boy. We'll be Feed Me Dutch Boy. So we have Feed
Everything's
Me.
better with a little
That
Dutch
doesn't make
boy.
any sense, but that's okay.
That's okay. We'll be.
I just imagine now I need like a T-shirt of us being spoon-fed by Dutch Boy.
No one will purchase that T-shirt.
I would.
Prove us wrong,
Does it have
people.
applesauce on
Yeah.
like one of those little rocket ship spoons or?
Check us out on TeePublic.
There you go. Nice plug there. And a sponsor today by TeePublic and also Dutch Boy applesauce, I guess.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? All right. Well, in order to play the game, we have to know the rules. So, Karl, you are the host today. Any preference on the rules read?
Yeah, so when I started listening to the show is when you guys always had the live rules reading in the studio. So I was hoping I can get, one of those guys that's hanging out that can do it live.
Sure, we can do it live.
Can we? Do we know how the rules of the game are simple?
20 questions split into
Into
2
two
rounds.
rounds.
Hey.
At the midway point, there's a swing round
What
worth
happens?
10 points apiece.
Okay.
And at the end of
No, it's a special swing round by this week's host.
Okay.
at the end of regulation, there will be
The final round.
the final round
Yep.
featuring 5 categorized questions,
You can wager on
Up to
them
30
at
points
some point.
apiece.
from 0 to 30 points. And at the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
I am the cream.
Look at that.
Nailed it. One take.
I like how we don't know our own rules.
We don't.
Reading. And I listen to it
No.
several times a week.
Where's Chris Hansen when you need him?
Stand by, and I'll be watching.
Well, after all this nonsense and introducing our wonderful guests, Karl is going to take it away. And as we said, it's going to be Team Bye Bye Birdie of Mary and Matt versus Feed Me Dutch Boy, Jeff and Neal. So whenever you're ready, Karl.
Yeah. Round 1, question 1. The itsy bitsy spider. In Gothic architecture, what is the difference between a gargoyle and a grotesque?
So you wrote down some terms that I don't understand, which makes me think you know what you're talking about. I'm just thinking
Never
of
a given.
gargoyles from Ghostbusters, or as Matt said,
Disney's Gargoyles.
Disney's gargoyles. So I'm going to let Jeff lock in.
Oh boy. Mary, what is your relationship with gargoyles?
Well, I'm more focusing on the clue with the itsy bitsy spider. And initially I thought legs, but then more I was thinking the spout. So I'm thinking that they're both actually part of the architecture, but that the gargoyles have the mouth where it would be on the eaves, and that would be the rain spout.
Okay.
So that's what I'm guessing. That's what the difference is, where Grotesque does not have that feature, is not placed in that location. So that's what I'm guessing.
So to sum up, one has a mouth and one doesn't, more or less?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one acts as a rain spout for the building.
Gotcha. So we will say that is the difference.
Yep. I just said that gargoyles are the ones that direct water away from a building. Technically, I think gargoyles are grotesques, but
Yeah, points going to both teams there. A grotesque is used primarily for decoration, but gargoyles have the added purpose of diverting water away from the building.
Wow, I had no idea.
Also had no idea, but you know what? Points for everyone.
That's why you have Mary, I have Jeff, and we can just sit back
Just
and look
sit
pretty.
back.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So Gargoyles was a Disney-produced animated series that ran from 1994 until 1997, featuring of a clan of gargoyles that was frozen in stone for 1,000 years, which brings us to a Disney-related question. The next category is an extremely goofy question. Appearing in jobs such as pirate, used cars salesman, and usually as a villain, what character is Disney's oldest continuously used character?
Yo-ho.
Well, that's not bad.
That's pretty good. Could it be the antagonist to that character?
I would think so. I didn't know that character had an antagonist.
He's very big and muscular and puffs his chest out. I don't know if he's been around that long, but
Oh, maybe.
all right, we're gonna lock in over here.
All right, so they're locked in over there. Mary, how familiar are you with Disney antagonists?
I mean, Disney, I've got 3 kids, 3 girls, so big into Disney, but the oldest running one, I'm thinking it would be, if he's antagonist, way back to Steamboat Willie, and I can't remember the character's name. Big, muscular, something Pete, but I'm not sure.
There is, so the question category was a goofy question.
Yeah.
I think the bad guy, well, as bad as he is in Goofy movie, I think his name's Brutus. I think
Okay.
that's the name of the big dog guy, big beefy dog man. And I think if you're okay with that, we can lock in with Brutus.
I am okay with Brutus.
I think
Okay.
you set that question in motion.
Actually, Mary had a similar train of thought to what I had. I was thinking Brutus at first, but I know there was a character who's been around a long time that looks just like Brutus, at least according to my head, and we locked in with Pete.
Yeah, making his first appearance in February 1925, predating Mickey by 3 years, it is Pete,
Oh,
also known as Pistol Pete or Pigleg Pete. Obviously, he's in the Goofy movies and that TV show as a bunch of other things. Round number 3, the category is not gold but silver. Stephen King, Vincent Price, and Mel Brooks were all considered for the theming of what classic Disney ride?
So Mary, I have recently been to Disneyland, and every single ride there is connected to some kind of movie. But there is one that wasn't, that I thought was odd. The Haunted Mansion. What do you think about that one?
I like it. I mean, it's scary. I'm just trying to think of how it would tie to. Do you see any connection to
Well,
Stephen?
for Mel Brooks, it could be they might have wanted to make it a Dracula Dead and Loving It movie or
Okay.
ride. And Vincent Price is known for his scary nonsense statement with Stephen King. I think they're actually going to make it a Coco ride, is from what I had heard. But then the pandemic kind of paused all those plans. But it's really just a basic ghost ride, and I think that you could have themed it with any of those guys.
Okay, well, yeah, we can go with that. One thing is that I've read a lot of Stephen King, and I'm not sure how this would go Vincent Price or with Mel Brooks, but I know that he had done a short story at this point called Silver Bullet.
Oh,
And but again, if I haven't been to Disney World or Land, either one of them, I'm willing to go with your answer.
Yeah.
And since you've been there, and sure, let's go for it.
yeah, the only silver bullet ride I can think of is in the Rockies, and that's Coors.
Yes.
We're going to lock in with
I thought
Haunted
that's what
Mansion.
you called it when you just crushed a whole case of it at a backyard barbecue.
Yeah, that too.
Going on a silver bullet ride.
So we locked in with Haunted Mansion.
Okay, I love Mary's reference to Silver Bullet. It's one of my favorite 80s horror movies with Corey Haim, werewolf movie. We wrote down Haunted Mansion, and Jeff wrote down Tower of Terror, which I thought was a really interesting guess there too. And I was just trying to think of how Mel Brooks, is connected. I figured Vincent Price, House on Haunted Hill, and Stephen King horror, and then Mel Brooks. I was like, maybe Young Frankenstein. They go to a mansion that has the knockers on it that Terry Garr knocks, and they make the joke about. So, but we ended up going Haunted Mansion as well.
Yeah, Matt, if you went to Disneyland recently, may have put you down the wrong path a little bit. Yeah, so the category was not gold but silver because I was trying to hint at Rod Sterling, who actually introduces the ride. Rod Sterling is obviously from the Twilight Zone. The answer is the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Oh,
Jeff.
Yeah, and obviously in Disneyland, I believe it's been rethemed to Guardians of the Galaxy.
It is, yeah.
Not Twilight Zone anymore. But yeah, with Mel Brooks, it actually wasn't, kind of scary themed at all. It was supposed to be, kind of more like a movie production. You're going through a set, and at the end he would yell "cut," and that's when the drop would happen.
Oh.
Tower of Terror, future film by Taika Waititi.
Mm.
So moving on, by now you may have realized that all the questions and answers, I've tried to put them in kind of a stream of consciousness like game where they lead from one into the other. Maybe more accurately, it'd be like a Wikipedia rabbit hole. Yeah, so some of the questions and answers may give hints to the question that follows it, while others just have a thematic bond. Moving on to question number 4. The category is the Oakland Fifth Dimension. From 1959 to 1964, The Twilight Zone ran for 156 episodes, with an anthology film being released in 1983. The film has 4 segments, each directed by a different director. For 5 points each, name the 4 directors that each directed a segment of the Twilight Zone movie.
We can lock in.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh God.
Do you think James Cameron might have been one?
At this point, I mean, it could be you're looking at who's big in the 80s. Spielberg, Cameron, Ridley Scott,
Lucas. I don't think Lucas did one, though.
No, he's probably too busy with other things.
Yeah.
Trying to squeeze all the money he could out of.
Designing Jar Jar.
Yeah.
It took him 10 years.
Scott, Cameron, who's another one that would be
Wes Craven.
sure.
I think he was making movies around then. So we got Craven, Spielberg, Scott, and what was the other one?
Cameron?
Yeah, those are the 4.
Yeah.
We're locked in.
All right.
Well, we locked in with John Landis, George Miller of Mad Max fame. He did the famous one with John Lithgow on the plane. That was a remake of the
The Shatner one.
Joe Dante and Steven Spielberg.
We got one.
Yay.
Yeah, Jeff and Neal got all the points there.
I believe
Yeah,
you
No,
could just
Jeff
say
got
Neil.
0. Come
You
on.
could just say Neil. It's all right.
Yeah.
John Landis, Steven Spielberg, Joe Dante, and George Miller, also of Happy Feet fame. He directed those as well, including to the Mad Max. Yes. So George Miller is Australian, and obviously there's a large Triviality following of Australian rules football. However, I don't know anything about that, so you're going to get an American football question here. Question number 5 in Not Silver But Gold. Only a handful of NFL teams have beaten another franchise in 100 or more separate games. What NFL team was the first to record 100 victories over 2 different NFL teams?
I mean, we can. I went against your gut on Tower of Terror, and you were right. So
Doesn't mean anything, but
let's just see how what your guts,
Okay.
what kind of acid it's playing.
See if you got a probiotic in there.
Yeah.
I do.
All right. Jeff wrote an answer down, and I'm gonna trust his gut on this one.
Oh boy. Okay. Mary, what do you think?
I have no idea. That's why you're on my team,
That's
sir.
why I'm here. So yeah, I think the gold clue will lead me to the Steelers.
I actually wrote the Steelers down. I
Yeah,
had
they're
them.
black and gold. My other guess might have been the Packers. 2 reasons: they have yellow / kind of gold helmets, and also Carl's from Wisconsin, and they've beaten the Bears a lot, and they're in the same division as the Lions, who are very bad at football. And have also been around a long time. But I think I'm okay locking in with the Steelers, probably beating the Browns 100 times and probably beating, we'll say, the Jets. I don't know, some other team. But I think we can lock in with the Steelers.
Yeah, you went AFC. My gut originally said NFC, thinking gold. 49ers were mining gold. They were pretty successful for a long time, so maybe they beat 100 different teams. So we said the 49ers.
Yeah, beating the Lions for the 100th time in 2016 and the Chicago Bears in 2020. It is the green and gold, the Green Bay Packers.
How can I
Yeah.
have all the parts of the answer and still get it wrong?
Yeah,
I wrote it down. I said game theory because he's from Wisconsin, but I mean gold. I had to trust Jeff's gut. He was right on Tower of Terror. So
No, it doesn't mean anything. Clearly.
I just think I just lost my Wisconsin card,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm going to be moving here soon. So
well, it looks like after 5 questions of the first round, team Bye Bye Birdie is picking up 25 points, and team Feed Me Dutch Boy is going to be at 40 points. So it's 40 to 25.
That's not bad, because I felt like we didn't get anything right.
Yeah, and so my parents are they're from Chicago. They're Bears fans. Obviously Triviality is Chicago based. So as a Packer fan, I had to get my dig in.
What happened though with your parents and you? Where did Green Bay come in?
We moved to Wisconsin when I was 4, and then the Packers won the Super Bowl a couple years later.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're that age, learning what football is, and the team an hour from you is winning the championship,
Yeah.
obviously you flip sides.
Winning?
Much to their chagrin.
What are you talking about winning? We don't know anything about that here.
Yeah, so the Packers have a record 13 NFL championships. Unfortunately, they don't have a monopoly on all the championships. Hey, speaking of monopoly, question number 6. I want a segue like that for my game piece. What is the statistically most landed on property in Monopoly? And for 5 bonus points, what is the least landed on property?
Yeah,
Is this individual, square, or by title?
Like individual, property.
okay. Yeah, that's fine with me. Okay.
We'll just say it because
Okay.
we both said it.
All right, we're gonna lock in.
there's just so many properties, and I'm just trying to think. I actually went as the least landed on, and I went with that way first, thinking maybe free parking. But the other most landed on, maybe a railroad or the electric company or waterworks.
I was thinking it's potentially one of the early properties, because if you get sent back to go, you have a chance to land on those
Okay.
over and over. So maybe like Baltic. Is that
Baltic, Mediterranean. Then the light blue ones are there too.
Yeah.
Is that Connecticut?
anything you can get in your first roll from? So I would say probably Baltic Avenue. I like that one.
Okay.
How about Electric Avenue?
And then for least likely, probably Boardwalk. Would you think that? Park Place?
We can do with one of those. Yeah, sure.
Let's go with Park Place for no reason.
Jeff, you wrote down some clues there, and we both wrote down the same one. I don't know if it's the least or most, but
Yeah, we wrote down jail. There's several different ways to go to jail by rolling doubles 3 times or
and Jeff's been to jail many times, so we know there's more than
Yeah,
one.
jaywalking.
not paying your taxes or whatever.
Screaming at
and-
children and
Yeah.
Yeah. Knocking ice cream cones on the ground. That escalated quickly though. But yeah, we said jail. I don't think it's right now that I think about it. Actually, secretly, I think it's Oriental or one of those first like few blue spaces. I think they might be onto something with that. But Least landed on, you want to say free parking?
Sure.
We're going to go jail for that and free parking as our guess for the bonus.
Yeah, so based on a combination of dice probability from where you can start on the board and where chance cards send you, this answer actually references the home of one of the teams in the previous question. That is Illinois Avenue. It's the most
Ah.
landed on property
Yeah.
in Monopoly. The least landed on is Mediterranean.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a
I think that's
place.
like 3, right? Or 1 or 3.
I have no idea.
Right in the beginning.
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
3.
Yeah.
Question number 7, City in the Garden. Chicago gets its name from the Algonquin word Chicaquam, which means what?
All right. So we think we know the answer. We're going to lock in over here at Feed Me Dutch Boy.
Mm-hmm. This is part of primary school education in Chicago. You learned this in Casimir Pulaski
Just gonna
around
say,
the
I
same
bet you're gonna
time.
say
Yeah.
Casimir Pulaski.
Mary, do you have any idea?
I do not. I'm hoping you do.
I think it means swamp. I think Chicago was just a giant old swampland before they fixed it up. So we're gonna say swamp.
You're not wrong about that.
All right, and
But
Jeff
I'm
and
wrong
I,
about the answer.
Jeff and I
Maybe.
couldn't remember if our answer was for the translation of Illinois or Chicago, but we felt confident and we said it's smelly onion or stinky onion.
Yeah, Chicago, also known as the Windy City or the City of Broad Shoulders, gets its name from the onion or garlic or wild leek. Yeah, so I would accept Jeff and Neal's answer there.
All right. Well, it's because I left for 2 years. I forgot everything.
So maybe you can use those onions to make a creamy French onion soup, where in the next category, question number 8, the cream rises to the top. So in the crop last winter, somebody posted a website that was allegedly selling a periodic table that contained real elements. It sold for the low cost of $189, but fine print showed that only 83 stable elements were used in the construction. Found in Group 1 of the periodic table, what is the most expensive naturally occurring element?
All right, if I know one thing about Jeff, it's since he was the ripe old age of 14 years old, above his bed was a poster of the most expensive elements in a bikini. So, Jeff, you might know this answer. I have no idea whatsoever.
I don't know if I do.
Cornucovium? Is that
Anna Cornucovium, that's correct.
That's correct.
So what were you thinking? You said you had an idea.
So, Group 1, I think, is mostly gases. I think that's your helium, oxygen, and that's such. I think helium is actually pretty expensive at this point. It's becoming more rare. But I'm not but then I was thinking maybe nitrogen. I don't know. Maybe radium. I don't know. Now I'm just guessing things.
No.
Let's go helium.
Sure.
Helium it is.
I think you guys are actually kind of close with radium. So in the Group 1, it's like helium, lithium, sodium, potassium, and then I forget the other 3. So, but I think you're closer than us. We just guessed palladium because I know that's a pretty expensive metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in the segue between questions, I referenced French onion soup. That was a hint there, with an estimated value of $1 billion per gram of
Francium.
francium.
Blah.
Oh.
Oh, sacre bleu.
There's an element named francium?
There is.
I didn't know that.
Question number 9, in creme de la creme. Speaking of France, with what country does France share its longest border?
We're locked in.
Oh, I wanted to see if I could figure it out, but I'll
You can
think,
take a guess.
I'll think about it, and then you tell me if I'm wrong privately. All right, go ahead, Matt. We're locked in.
Go ahead, Matt. Mary, what do you know about European geography?
I'm thinking Spain's to the south, and then you've got north of it is Belgium.
Belgium's tiny.
There's yes, and then there's Luxembourg, and then Germany,
I would be between
Italy,
Spain and Germany.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between one of those two. I'm just wondering about the Italian.
Yeah.
Spain just seems too easy, so maybe Germany.
Yeah, I think it goes France, Germany, Poland, right? I think that's the order over there. I don't know. My geography's terrible, and I apologize to everyone from Europe, from the band Europe, everybody. But I think you like Germany then?
Yeah, I think Germany. Or I'm going back to Italy because keep on going back to the cruise the clues, creme de la creme. I don't know if
Mm.
that's just France or anything like that, but
Well, Italy is very long, and
yeah.
it shares most of that long border. So I think we can go with Italy.
Let's go Italy. Let's try that.
Locked in with Italy.
All right, Neil, I'm going to get this so that you can get it through a film clue.
Okay.
You ready? So I'm pretty sure that this border is not in Europe, and it shares its name with a 1985 film directed by Terry Gilliam.
Oh.
I know what it is now.
Wait, they have Brazil?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, the French Guiana in South America would share its longest border with Brazil. And that is recognized as a wholly European part of Brazil or France.
Wow. So a trick question, kind of.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, Jeff was 100% on. Yeah, the longest border is with Brazil. Yeah, French Guiana it's legally a fully fledged part of France. It's not a territory or anything like that. Yeah, let's moving on to question number 10. You say potato, I say potato. In what country is it believed that potatoes originated? And for 5 bonus points, within 300, how many different types of potato exist from that country?
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're going to lock in our guess here for both that and the bonus.
All right. So we don't think it's Ireland, right?
No.
No. They could not import enough potatoes. That was their problem. Where do you think they're from?
Well, U.S. is a good choice. I mean,
Mhm.
so I'm thinking, again, last one was in Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also thinking South American countries. That's a lot. They have a big production of sweet potatoes down in Argentina, Chile.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in that region of the world.
Argentina has large crops, and they're a big country. So, I am good with locking in with Argentina, but within 300, how many potatoes do you think are from there? I'm thinking probably 700, somewhere around there.
It's that low? Don't you think it'd be higher if he's given us a range of within 300?
Yeah, maybe it's 1,800.
Do you want to split go 1,200?
I want to go 1,200.
All right, let's go.
1,200, Argentina. Lock it in, boys.
We are guessing potatoes from Mexico. We don't know. And then we guess 750 for the types.
Yeah, so we're staying in South America. It's actually Peru.
Oh.
And they have approximately 4,000 different varieties of potato.
I don't believe you. Name them all.
Sorry. My wife is actually from Peru, so that's where I learned that. And honestly, she doesn't really like trivia, but she lets me listen to the podcast on road trips, which is nice.
Oh.
As long as I listen to her creepy murder podcasts after.
Hey,
so
that
we
works out
alternate.
okay.
I'll be on the lookout for our creepy murder podcast coming out next month.
Yeah, as long as Jeff doesn't get caught. Thank you, Anya,
It's called
for
Only Murders on the Podcast.
Yeah, Only Murders on the Podcast.
When I'm the only one left, it's going to be pretty obvious who done it.
It looks like after the first round, Team Bye Bye Birdie is at 25. Unfortunately, they didn't get one right in the second half there, and we only picked up 20 points in the second half, bringing our total to 60. So still a very gettable game for both teams. Before we go to the swing round, Karl, and find out what the category is, we wanted to take a moment. Both Karl and Mary are Patreon supporters, which we truly appreciate. They help us continue to grow our show and make it that much more worth it for us. But Jeff, we were talking before we started recording today about how excited we are just to tell people a little bit more in detail of what Patreon can do for us.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything that we have going for us is because of Patreon. I mean, our whole studio setup, our really nice soundboard, mics, headphones, our awesome editing computer, our sound dampening equipment that we have in here. All of that was financed by patrons. Before we were just kind of recording on whatever we had in a kitchen, and
that's true.
Everything sounded terrible, and it took hours and hours to edit and render because we had crappy old computers.
We had one microphone that we passed back and forth.
We shared back and forth. Yeah.
We did. We had that. And another great thing that people like Mary and Karl are helping us with is for 4 years, we would record 8 to 9 hours in a day, and we wouldn't get any food. And now the Patreon money is allowing us just to get ourselves some lunch so that we don't stab each other or starve for the entire day.
So for just $1 a month, you can feed a podcaster.
It's true. And if you do give us $1 a month, I will sing Sarah McLachlan as I feed Jeff. So so thank you very much.
I'm here for that.
If you give us $5, we won't show you that.
There you go. Well, thank you very much to all of you who are helping support us. And on top of all of that, helping us grow the show, we're able to provide extra audio content that you can have every month and many different types of bonuses that are of the audio content. So,
not to mention very many of the levels have things where we actually send stuff back to our patrons.
That's right.
So, very
a used sock, a tire.
Nope, don't think so. Cool things like signed posters and character boxes and things like that, Neal. I don't know what you're shipping off in yours. Maybe don't get a Neal box for a little while here. But we really appreciate everything that the patrons have been able to help us accomplish with the show. We're really proud of how things have been coming along here. And let's just say more and better things to come this year in 22. So
yes, very much so. So thank you very much. If you'd like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast. Karl, what is the swing around category today?
Yeah, the swing around category is Olympics. So the 2020 Summer Olympics were held this past summer in a city that was hosting for the second time. For the swing round, I'll be listing the years and seasons for cities that have hosted multiple times. And then for 5 points each, I'm going to ask you to name the city.
Okay.
So number 1, summer 1896 and 2004. Number 2, winter 1964 and 1976. Number 3, winter 1932 and 1980. Number 4, summer 1964 and 2020. Number 5, winter 1956 and 2026. Number 6, summer 1908, 1948 and 2012. Number 7, winter 1928 and 1948. Number 8, summer 1900, 1924 and 2024. Number 9, summer 1932, 1984 and 2028. And finally, number 10, summer 2008 and winter 2022.
All right, we will be back with our answers. All right, all the answers are now locked in, so we're going to see who's going to get the gold, silver, or bronze after we lock in our answers here. So let's hear the questions one more time, Karl, and we will go through.
Yeah. Question 1, summer 1896 and 2004.
First modern Olympics host, and then they wanted the bid in 2000 but didn't get it and went to 2004. We said Athens, Greece.
And we agree, Athens.
It is Athens, Greece. Number 2, winter 1964 and 1976.
Yep, we said Montreal.
We also said Montreal.
It's actually Innsbruck, Austria.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Number 3, winter 1932 and 1980.
Pretty sure this is the miracle game. We said Lake Placid.
And we also said Lake Placid.
Yeah, it's Lake Placid, New York, USA. Number 4, 1964, 2020.
Yep, predicted, of course, by one of my favorite anime. This was Tokyo.
Yeah, the games that actually took place in 2021, Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo, Japan. Number 5, winter 1956 and 2026.
I think this is one we didn't have an answer, so you're just going to have to shoot from the hip on this one.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the city. I know it went to Italy. I'm pretty sure for the bid, so we're just going to guess Milan.
That is we guessed as well. Again, we guessed it was Italy in that region, and so Matt threw out Milan. That's what we went with, the Milan.
Yeah, so you're pretty close, but not. So it's actually Cortina de Ampezzo, which is in Italy. Yeah, they hosted obviously for the first time in 1956. They're hosting in conjunction with Milan in 2026.
That's right.
It's the first time that Olympics will be held in 2 different cities. But yeah, the answer is Cortina di Ampezzo. Yeah, because it's Milan's first time hosting.
Never would have gotten that either.
Yeah. Number 6, summer 1908, 1948, and 2012.
City so nice they did it thrice. We said London.
Yeah, I can't forget this logo. Sorry, I jumped on you, Matt. Yeah, it is London. We had London.
Yeah, that is correct. It is London. Number 7, winter, 1928 and 1948.
This is a super random poll. I remembered as we were almost about to wrap up our answers. Neal and I were talking about, who would host following World War II. And then I remembered Sam Moritz has hosted in Switzerland. So that's what we said.
We were uncertain about this one, and so we just guessed Oslo.
Yeah, it's St. Moritz or San Moritz, Switzerland. Number 8, summer, 1900, 1924, and 2024.
This one we thought was Paris, so we said Paris.
I love the 100 years apart. We also said Paris.
Yeah, that's Paris, France. Number 9, 1932, 1984, and 2028.
Too bad Matt didn't stay there so I could crash on his couch. This is going to be LA.
It might be the reason I left.
And we agreed. Los Angeles.
Yep, that is correct. Los Angeles, California.
Can you imagine the traffic during that event? Oh, boy.
Number 10, summer 2008, winter 2022.
I think this is going to be, it might be the first one to host both a summer and a winter. I'm pretty sure this is Beijing.
I believe that fact is correct, too. We said, no, I think maybe Mexico City did, but we said Beijing.
Yeah, it is the first to host both the summer and the winter. It is Beijing.
All right. Well, it looks like at the end of the swing round here, team Bye Bye Birdie is picking up 35 points, bringing their total to 60, and team Feed Me Dutch Boys picking up 40 points, bringing their total to 100. So it is 100 to 60 going into the second round.
Question number 11. In banned TV shows, what animated TV show running from 1990 until 1992 featured voice work from LeVar Burton, Meg Ryan, Whoopi Goldberg, Martin Sheen, and Sting?
Oh, I think I know this.
We wrote down a lot of titles over here.
Many of them contentious.
Many of them contentious. Some of them mid-90s and late 90s, but we don't know if our answer was even in the right time period, but we're going to lock in.
Okay, Mary. So what do you think here?
Sound like you had an idea. What were you thinking?
So it's a lot of big names, and usually, especially at that time period, there weren't a lot of celebrities doing voice work on like cartoons and that kind of thing. But this show, if it is what I think it is, would be a show that was run by Ted Turner, who is a very wealthy man, and this was seen as something almost like a charity work. So Captain Planet had a lot of very big name celebrities that would guest on that show. I think at one point they were going to have Tom Cruise as Captain Planet. I don't think he ended up being that, but there was a lot of big names on that. So what do you think about Captain Planet?
I think that sounds like an answer. That sounds good. Let's go with that.
It does sound like an answer.
It sounds like an answer.
That's the one we're going with.
If
Captain
that's
Planet.
correct and it got banned, I'm assuming that's what caused global warming.
Yeah.
That's a great guess because Whoopi Goldberg and LeVar Burton were definitely on Captain Planet, I believe, at different points at the same time. We wrote down so many names, but they were the wrong time period. We wrote Celebrity Deathmatch. You wrote Real Monsters, Beavis and Butthead,
South Park.
And then we just ended up going with Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, so this is actually a show that I think Matt actually banned from questions about this show being asked on Triviality, but that group of voice actors was too eclectic to pass up. It is Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Wow.
And I actually did have a bonus question about Tom Cruise, asking to name Tom Cruise, but I actually got rid of that.
Give us the bonus anyway.
We need it. Come on.
Question number 12. The official motto of Texas is friendship. What led to the creation of the phrase, "Don't mess with Texas"?
Yeah, you know what? Let's just go with your answer because you wrote it down right away. So I'm just going to, once again, I'm going to follow those gut microbiomes. So see what happens.
Sometimes you end up with poop.
That's true. Mary, have you ever been caught messing with Texas?
I have not.
Okay. That's good. You follow it truthfully. I think this is really old. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is too. I'm just trying to think, is it related to a war when they were the Republic of Texas? Is it?
Yeah, or maybe it goes back to the Civil War where they were trying to get them involved and they said, "Don't mess with Texas. Leave us out of it." Or it could be the Alamo. The Alamo would be a big thing.
Wrote the Alamo down too. So,
Well, if you wrote the Alamo and I said the Alamo, we both remembered it. It's
that
important.
is the most important thing, is that we did remember it.
Maybe they came up with those slogans simultaneously.
I'm willing to go if you wanted to go back to the Civil War and like not wanting to be involved in it.
Yeah, I kind of like that as an idea. It's made up, but it could be true. Those are my favorite kind of answers. So,
Okay.
We'll go with Civil War.
We kind of ruled that possibility out, I think, based on the question we had about Six Flags, because the Confederate flag did fly over Texas. But I think this might have to do with the Alamo, so that's what we locked in with.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of relates to the previous question. It's something that Captain Planet would be fond of. It's actually from a 1985 anti-littering campaign.
Oh.
So not the Alamo.
Not the Alamo.
I knew it was an advertising executive because that's a pretty good slogan.
Question number 13. The category is bands 14-year-old Karl really liked but is honestly afraid to listen to in 2021. What band from Wichita Falls, Texas is known for its songs Punk Rock 101, 1985, and Girl All the Bad Guys Want?
It's a good thing Ken's not here. His head might explode.
Yeah. Do you know this one, Mary?
I do not. I hope you do.
I do.
You're gonna lock it in for you guys over there?
1985, actually, they weren't the first ones to record that song.
Nope.
It was the guys who did Hanging by a Moment. I forget their name. Lifehouse, I believe, did the original version of 1985.
I can tell you that there's more questions on Triviality podcast about this band than there are about Bruce Springsteen, Madonna, and Nirvana combined.
Yeah. Well,
never mind that, but let's hear what Matt's answer is.
It's Bowling for Soup.
And we too are going to say Bowling for Soup.
The answer is Bowling for Soup.
I thought, wasn't 1985 an SR-71 song?
That's right. Yeah.
He just asked me who did Hanging by a Moment.
Was that Hanging by
yeah, no, you're right.
Okay.
Proto Nickelback.
Yeah, every Lifehouse song was just sort of like half breathing, half effort. Yeah, okay.
Question 14. Let my people bowl. In what ancient civilization is it believed that bowling originated?
Oh, jeez. Flintstones, right?
The bedrock of sports.
And Neal and I, kind of on the same wavelength here, we'll lock it in.
I'm an avid bowler, but I have not learned the entire history of bowling.
You're an avid bowler?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen you bowl.
No. I had a bowling game on my TI-83 in high school, so I was pretty good at it. Mary, what do you know about bowling?
I'm just going off the clue, let my people bowl. I was going back to Moses, let my people go, which puts us in Egypt, and he wanted to go to Israel, so the only thing I can do is reference to that. That's Egyptian.
That makes sense to me. They had a lot of free time on their hands in between building the pyramids, so I'm guessing there's bowling there. So we're going to say Egypt.
Yeah, I think when they weren't growing crops in the flood season, I think Matt's right. They did have a bit of free time, and we also said Egypt.
Yeah, maybe Moses split the 7 and 10 pins like he did the Red Sea, with drawings depicting forms of bowling as early as 5200 BC. It is Egypt. Number 15, I wonder if they bowled in Tanis. What TV series, winner for the Emmy for Best Outstanding Drama in 1966, would later be made into a movie nominated for Best Picture?
Oh, yeah, we can lock in.
Nominated, but not winning. No, 1966, I wasn't watching a lot of television, unfortunately. There was only like 7 shows on, so it's not Flipper. It's not.
Flipper.
The Waltons. So we're talking a little bit about different shows from the 60s, and we're really having a hard time coming up with dramas that potentially were made into movies. But you had an idea of something that you know was made into a movie later, right?
Yeah, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I think that's about the right time period, and I know it was made into a movie, but I'm not sure if it's nominated, but I think that's
that's as good as we're going to get. So fingers crossed, and we're locking in.
So I usually think of one movie that's a favorite of mine when I think of movies based off of TV series that did really well. The question tricked me a little bit because I think the TV series started in the early 60s, but maybe it got nominated in 66. But we went with the movie that taught us never to switch the samples. So we said The Fugitive.
Yeah, so Tanis is a city in Egypt, specifically in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which obviously Indiana Jones was played by Harrison Ford, who plays the character in The Fugitive.
Dr. Richard Kimball. Looks like after 5 questions in the second round, Team Feed Me Dutch Boy picking up 30 points, bringing their total to 130, and Team Bye Bye Birdie also picking up 30 points, bringing their total to 90.
All right, number 16, Lost in Translation. From one Best Picture nominee to another, in this case the winner, I took the plot summary of a Best Picture winner, put it into Google Translate 4 different times, leaving me with this summary. What film am I describing? The old man of violence of the working group allowed the management of his country's airspace to his son refused.
Neal is not very good at these puzzles usually.
Yeah, I'm terrible at
And
this
You
kind
know
of
who
stuff.
else
upset.
is not good at them? Me.
Okay.
But that's mostly because I don't know films.
Yeah. So we're looking at, I think it has something to do with maybe a president, or I was thinking almost Godfather because it has the father-son dynamic to it. And it did win Best Picture.
Yes, I have Godfather down. I don't know why I have Lawrence of Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Return of the King. I did the father-son thing. I did think of Godfather as well. I'm trying to...
I think let's just, I don't know how it relates to airspace, but if you're looking at something mafia related, getting translated 3-4 times, I'm sure there's not a like for like in translation. So I think maybe Godfather's a good guess.
If you want to go with Godfather, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's an offer I can't refuse. We're going to say Godfather.
That's a really good guess. I think you guys must have gotten it because when I hear that now, old man of violence probably meaning like mob boss, offer he couldn't refuse, airspace maybe meaning like turf or whatever. So that's probably correct. I just kept thinking of planes, so I was like Platoon, there's a war movie, English Patient, and then I just ended up saying One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because of the flying.
Yeah, so the original summary that I put in was an organized crime dynasty's aging patriarch transfers control of his clandestine empire to his reluctant son. The category there was Lost in Translation, which is directed by Sofia Coppola. Obviously, this movie is The Godfather, directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Great question.
All right.
Good answer.
Number 17, just like the montage at the end of The Godfather, but with more historical impact. So I'm always interested when I realize that certain, people and events were around during the same time in history. So I've picked 4 events of historical significance that all occurred within an 82-year period. I'm going to name all 4 and ask you to order them in the order that they occurred. So the first one is the construction of Machu Picchu. The second one is Martin Luther nailing the 95 Theses to the door of All Saints Church in Germany. The third is Ferdinand Magellan completing the first circumnavigation of the world. And the fourth is Johannes Gutenberg inventing the printing press.
All right. I just turned to Jeff and said, see if you can figure this one out. And he did, and we're going to lock in.
Okay. So Mary, I think these all are what, 1500s?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there?
Yes.
I do feel like the Martin Luther one is smack dab in the middle at 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think, what do you think?
What was number 3 listed? What did he what was the third thing he said? Carl, would you?
The Magellan.
Oh, Magellan. Okay, Ferdinand. Okay.
I think Machu Picchu is the oldest.
All right. So if we go, do we do it in order?
I think maybe we swap Magellan and then Luther. We
All
do
right.
like 1, 3, 2, 4.
All right. That sounds good.
We are locked in.
All right. So printing press definitely precedes Luther. So we started with the printing press.
Whoops.
And then I know it's not too long, but then we'll go Magellan in the middle, then Luther, then Machu Picchu, we're going to say is the newest.
Yeah, so Gutenberg invented the printing press in 1440. Machu Picchu was constructed approximately 1450. Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses in 1517, and Magellan completed his journey in 1522. So no points there. Number 18, earning that beer. I'm sure everyone that worked on those achievements could have appreciated a good beer at the end of the day. However, Gutenberg and Luther may have been the ones that actually could have gotten one. Believed to be operating continuously since 1040 AD, what is considered to be the oldest continuously operated brewery in the world?
I always mix this one up because there's a fact that I've never forgotten about which beer was around during the plague, which is not old enough for this question. But then someone said, well, this one's been around forever. And I mix them up all the time.
I think that we are not going to get this one. Just throwing it out there. Lock in with Beck's because we got nothing else, and we're sure it's German.
All right, that sounds good.
Beck's it is.
So I think my fact here is wrong because I thought someone told me once that Stella Artois, on the bottle, there's like a year, like 8 or whatever year, 13, 14, that people thought during the plague that it would cure it, and it didn't. But I could be wrong. I thought that was correct. Anyway, we wrote down Stella Artois, Tsingtao, thinking maybe in China they would have had beer for a long time, and then we wrote down some German beers, Amstel, Grolsch, or I guess Amstel's Dutch, Grolsch, Heineken. Anyway, we didn't know, so we just ended up just saying, well, Stella Artois is the oldest one we could think of, so that's what we went with.
Yeah, so Gutenberg and Luther were obviously in Germany. This is a German beer. Specifically, it's the Bayerische Staatsbrauerei Weihenstephan, or the Weihenstephan Brewery, which is located just north of Munich.
Oh,
Okay.
Munich beer.
Ken would have known that.
Yeah, they have a really good Weiss beer that I enjoy from time to time. Number 19, grain, hops, water, and yeast. If you've ever toured a brewery, you know those are the 4 ingredients that go into beer. But for a beer that's truly out of this world, you may have to travel to outer space to get some of those ingredients. What moon of Jupiter, featured in both film and book sequels to 2001: A Space Odyssey, is hypothesized to have a water ocean beneath its surface?
I can lock in.
Do you think that it's Titan?
It's an option.
Okay, it's less.
I'm just.
Yeah, I know.
Can I help you out? Titan's a moon of Saturn.
Okay.
What is Ganymede? Is that Jupiter?
I don't know. Apparently, before this recording, I went to Jupiter to get more stupider.
Oh my god! I was gonna say you put some drops of Jupiter in your eye and it made you dumber.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time today. The moons of Jupiter. Yeah. I can't think of any other moons.
Is
moons of
Callisto
Jupiter.
a moon of Jupiter?
Yeah.
Because
Jeff's just playing with us now.
I know.
No, you're right. So most of what I learned originally about the moons of Jupiter, I learned on watching the original 1998 run of Cowboy Bebop. So hopefully you checked out our Cowboy Bebop exclusive Lay It On Me recently due to the Netflix series coming out. So.
Oh boy. Do you want to? I guess you want to just lock in with Io.
Sure, let's just do that.
We're not getting any closer. We're very far from Jupiter. Our Jupiter is not ascending.
Well, I told Jeff that Justin Timberlake and 50 Cent had a song called IO Technology, but he said it's not about Jupiter's moon.
No, of the 4 Galilean moons, I believe they named all but the correct answer. Ganymede, Io, and Callisto were all said, but I'm pretty sure it's Europa.
Yeah, it's the 6th largest moon in the solar system and one of the Galilean moons. It is Europa. Question number 20. What's in a name? Alternatively called Jupiter 2, Europa is not the only European or European answer in today's game to have multiple names. Formerly known as Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, this renamed modern dynasty ruled over what European country?
It sounds like a law firm.
It does.
Here at Saxe, Coburn, and Gotha, we represent you in all your injury cases. Over 100 million to our clients so far.
Ruling over a country. So I thought we had to come up with the other name. So this is easier. At least we can just name a European country.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
I was in the same position. I'm like, oh, country? Well, cool. Let's just guess.
Yeah. How many could there possibly be?
Like 30-ish?
Who would even
40?
know? So it Gotha, Saxe. What is it? That sounds kind of
Germanic and so.
What about Hungary? I feel like they've been ruled by a lot of different people and things.
Let's go. Yeah, I think in that region, yeah. So let's go Hungary, sure.
Yep, Hungary it is.
So Jeff, once again, I give him some clues trying to help, and he said, I don't believe this is the same Saks who have a store on Fifth Avenue, so I let Jeff take it away for the answer.
it is German, but I think that they had much more of a impact due to marriage on the British crown, because I think Queen Victoria was pretty much the monarch when it came to this dynasty. So we said Great Britain, UK, whatever, however, titles.
Yeah, so the house was renamed in 1917 because of anti-German sentiment, because they were at war with the Germans. It's House Windsor. Yeah, the United Kingdom, England, and anything in that vein would have been accepted.
Well, after regulation, the game isn't actually out of reach for either team. It's still a fairly close game here. We have Bye Bye Birdie with 100 points and Team Feed Me Dutch Boy with 150 points. Yeah, Carl, let's hear those categories so we can wager on them.
Yeah, so the categories are soul, mind, space, reality, and time.
Okay, looks like all the wagers are now locked in. And just for the listeners at home, everyone is betting 15s all the way down. So it'll keep it pretty simple today. So 15s all the way down. So let's hear the questions.
Hoping these are all Captain Planet related, Matt. Looks like that's the correct, right?
Yes, they're all Captain Planet people.
Yeah, so you may have noticed that these are 5 of the 6 Infinity Stones.
Oh.
I excluded the 6th, the Power Stone, because you know what happens when you get all 6 together, and I didn't want to eliminate any of your potential Patreons, with a snap of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Good looking out, Carl.
I do what I can. So the first question is in Soul. Following the artist's death in Madison, Wisconsin in 1967, what song was the first song posthumously released to reach #1 on the U.S. charts? In Mind, in what city will you find the world's first underground passenger rail system? Space, what man-made object is the farthest from Earth? Reality, Survivor is one of the first and most successful reality TV shows. Within 2, how many seasons of the American Survivor have aired? And Time, how many time zones does China have?
Okay, we will go over these questions and be back with our answers.
All right, all of our answers are locked in, but before we get to that, just have a brief word. Neal and I were talking just a moment ago. A lot of people have been asking how you can get on the show.
How do you get on the show, guys?
It's actually pretty straightforward. So we've got a sign-up form that's going to be going out actually probably about this time of release of the episode. And we're going to do that on our Crop Facebook group. We're going to do it on Discord and Patreon.
Wow, that sounds really easy. Even I can do it?
Even you could do it, Matt. You can
Wow.
sign up to be on the show. I'm sure people would love for you to sign up as host. Don't worry, everyone. More Triviality hosted episodes are coming, actually. So one of the things that we're going to be doing in 22 is making sure that we can get back to doing that a little bit. And really looking forward to it. But if you want to be on the show, you don't have to support us in any way. You can just sign up on the list to either host or be a guest.
Yep, and just to dispel any inconsistencies or rumors or not, you don't have to be a Patreon supporter, so you can come on and not be one. But if you are a Patreon supporter, you do get priority booking, just to help when we look through all the files to go down the list and get people on the show.
Just a little way to pay them back for what they do for us.
Yes, so if you want to sign up, just go to that sheet. If you have any other questions, though, feel free to email us at trivialitypodcast@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to answer them as quickly as possible. Carl, we have our answers, so let's see if we're right.
All right. In Soul, following the artist's death in Madison, Wisconsin in 1967, what song was the first song posthumously released to reach #1 on the U.S. charts?
I think he's more famous for maybe a little San Francisco sound. We're going to guess it's Otis Redding's Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
How much did you wager?
We wagered 15 on that one.
Interesting. We wagered 15 on all of ours as well, and we also thought this was Otis Redding doing a little Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
Yeah, with a final recording 3 days before his death in a plane crash, the answer is Otis Redding's Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
Wasting time.
In Mind, in what city will you find the world's first underground passenger rail system?
All right, so this one, a couple things. When we broke to discuss, we were like, how does mind come into this? And we're like, wait a minute, M-I-N-E-D, mind, also M-I-N-D. And we're like, okay, now we feel dumb, so let's try and answer the question. Jeff and I, anytime we hear this question, we either answer New York or London, and we know one of them was the first to do it, and the other one was the first to do it maybe more successfully, and we can never remember which distinction it is. But we decided between New York and London to pick
New York.
We didn't even consider America. Bad on us.
No, we thought this would be more of a European, and then we were struggling thinking whether Rome, Berlin, Paris, and we just ended up going Paris.
Yeah, so in this city, you must mind the gap. Opening in 1863, it's the Tube or the London Underground in London. I actually did a semester in London, and to get to class, I would have to go through the Baker Street Tube station every day, and that's one of the very first stations in the system. That's how I learned that. In space, what man-made object is farthest from Earth?
I usually get this question wrong. It usually takes me 2 guesses. So I said Voyager 1.
Ooh, we thought it was its more successful sequel, Voyager 2.
Yeah, launched in 1977, entering interstellar space in 2012. It is Voyager 1. Yeah, both are in interstellar space, and it's also believed that Pioneer 10 and 11 are also somewhere out there, but we've lost contact with both of those.
Whoops.
In reality, Survivor is one of the first and most successful reality TV shows. Within 2, how many seasons of the American Survivor have aired?
All right. I wanted to say maybe like 5-6 years ago. I remember they were up to like 21, 22, which like baffled me. And that was at least 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm just banking on the fact that they had a ton more and to kind of split the difference. We're going to say 29.
We think doing 2 a year for quite some time and doing some all-star, we think they're actually up to 45.
Yeah, so this Survivor premiered May 31st, 2000, and if you said 2 a year, you would have been pretty close. There's been 41 seasons of Survivor.
Wow.
In time, how many time zones does China have?
1. They just have 1.
Yes, we agree. 1 time zone.
Yeah, even though China spans 5 like geographical time zones, it only has 1 time zone, Beijing time or China Standard Time. There's a spot on the border with Afghanistan where it has a 3.5-hour difference from one side to the other. In some parts of China, the sun can rise as early as 3 a.m., while others it doesn't rise until 10 a.m.
Well, after the entire game there, it looks like Team Bye Bye Birdie is going to just lose 15 points, and their final score is going to be 85, and picking up 15 points is going to be Feed Me Dutch Boy with 165 points, making them today's cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop.
Tough loss, Mary. But you know what? You were a great teammate and carried me through some of those. Sorry I couldn't help with some of the sports questions.
It's all right. Just wasn't my round of questions, but I'd love to do it again, and I just had a great time. So thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome,
Glad to have
Mary. Anyone you'd like to shout out to? Any final statements over on your end? We really appreciated you spending time with us today.
No, I just really enjoyed the show. I stumbled across you guys way back when you guys were doing the Triviality round on Trivial Warfare, and I just started listening to you guys, and I think you're one of the most enjoyable, easy, laid-back trivia shows out there. So really enjoyed it. Oh,
thank you very much. That's so nice of you. And shout out to our friends over at Trivial Warfare, and glad that we were able to be on their show and get you to listen to us. And that's us. We're laid back, and we just like to have fun and try and give trivia a fun spin for everyone. So thank you very much for spending time today and being a Patreon supporter. And Karl, wonderful game. Crazy theme here. Like you said, it was a stream of consciousness. It went all over the place, but it all made sense, and it all fit together in the end. And we really appreciate you putting it together for us today. Any last final statements from you as well?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a blast. I actually found you guys through Trivial Warfare as well. I just want to shout out to the people that helped me playtest. My wife, Vanya, Jenway, my sisters, Jamie and Erica, my parents, John and Laura, and then Stephen, Amber, Peter, Garrett, and Abby also helped test the game.
All right. And we will forgive you for asking a Captain Planet question. You are forgiven.
Yeah, Matt is the last stand there, right, of forgiveness for Captain Planet. Yeah. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us today. And if you'd like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast. But for Matt, Jeff, Karl, Mary, Ken, who is not here today, myself is Neal. All right, I'm having a brain fart, and we're just going to end the show now. So thank you very much. That was Triviality. All right, so that's how the rules were supposed to be read. And those were done live as well, though, from Southern Illinois, where Darren records. Our Darren Marlar, who does our voiceover work.
Darren's Dance Grooves.
I like how you say he does our voiceover work, like we've ever had him do anything but the one rules reading.
It was one transaction 5 years ago that he probably forgot about.
Yeah.
But thank you,
Fiverr
Darren.
All-Star Darren.
Yes.